ABSL Summit. Beyond Tomorrow. Building a Sustainable Future.
So we put our heads together and we decided that it takes at least 2 men to replace 1 woman. Therefore, the first session will be led by Wojciech Poprawski, Managing Director at Accenture.
I think it's no longer good morning, good afternoon. So we have a very interesting, I know that we, believe me, it's not a trick that we used Marina's names just to raise the attention and attract you to participate in the meeting. So actually, we have a situation that I think we have an equally interesting conversation that will be around these themes. That's why I wanted to invite and join me Janusz Brzezinski, who is one of the key leaders in British American Tobacco in Poland, working directly with Marina, so hopefully we find a way to mitigate your disappointment and definitely focus on this extremely important theme, and especially the transformation, biotechnological transformation story of a large international organization. So feel free, feel like home, Janusz, so we can take a seat.
I'm really sorry, I'm not Marina Bellini. Wojtek gave me a little bit of a tough message, but we will try to pass key messages and make sure that this kickoff will set us well for the technology breakout. And thanks again for being with us in such a number. I was a bit afraid that the venue might not be enough, and it's 100% full. Excellent. Let's go. Wojtek, please grill me.
Well, so I think that you are not prepared. Okay, we wanted to use this little conversation to shed a little bit more light and look at the story of one of the international organization, British American Tobacco, that is really going through the tremendous, I think, pace of change, especially in the technology space, and how the technology will completely redefine the way the company operates. Marina, who was supposed to join us this morning, she's actually no longer the CIO, although she was hired as CIO, I think, over a year ago. She's a CIDO. It's actually a very interesting way of combining the traditional chief information officer objectives with the significant focus on digitization. I just wanted to ask Janusz, who is relatively the new joiner relatively at BET, but what's based upon your long hour discussions with Marina over the last couple of months, what's the vision? Why did BET decide to create this role, and why Marina, and where we are today?
Now you made it triple difficult. First of all, I'm not Marina, and she really apologizes she cannot be here. That's very unfortunate. She really wanted. Second, yes, she's around 2-3 years in the company. I'm 6 months in the company, so that's the second difficulty. And thirdly, actually, this is a good thing. Coming from the outside gives me this possibility to look at the new company from the inside, wearing still my different hats. So this is going to be rather interesting. First thing that happened, which was unheard of, at least in the companies I worked very closely with, that Marina, hired from the outside, became not only CIO, but she was the first woman invited to the management board of the company, and with the title of Chief Information and Digital Officer. Not only that, she also grasped the GBS, so Global Business Services strategy, in one hand. So she has some kind of superpowers. And the reason for that is rather simple. The pace of technology and the pace of the change that the company, with more than 100 years of history, has to go through in the, not only COVID, and many things are common to everybody, But as my colleagues, my great competitors who I see here on the floor, which I admire a lot, so hi, they will confess the tobacco business changes itself big time. From a classical tobacco companies, we are moving to the completely new frontiers with the new products, with the less harmful products, with all the requirements from consumers that all of a sudden are within our grasp. We could not speak to them, we could not advertise, and all of a sudden the new potential gets open. This is why technology revolution, this is why CIO and digital capabilities are more relevant than ever, simply because these companies did not use them to the full extent for many, many years before. So that's the primary reason why Marina got invited to the board and why this is so exciting for us to engage on that journey.
Thank you, Janusz. I think it was still too easy. I understand, based on our numerous conversations, a bit of industry knowledge. I know that Marina already defined the global digital strategy for the organization, but I think that a lot of colleagues in this room, they probably wonder, how do you translate the global strategies, right? The expanded chief information digital officers, how they translate into the markets, the specific requirements. What's the secret sauce, or actually how do you want to make it real, that markets can really use the global design and really adapt to what they need? Is there any flexibility, ability to customize? So what's your experience?
Before I go there, I perhaps will mention that yes, it is a difficult challenge, and I will talk about this in a moment, because the famous dispute and the famous a little bit of a tug of war between the central and the local, the headquarters and the markets in the region is something which we live and we understand, and it's been with us all the time. The dynamic has changed because the push of being in the central locations and the push of equipping the regions and equipping the markets, individual factories even, with certain capabilities and knowledge and skill set is something very, very new. And now, because Marina is, and this notion of CIDO, NGB has got elevated to the board of the company, this happened for a reason, and this happened with the top support of CEO and the entire management board. So it's not a nice invitation, please join us, it's gonna have fun, right? It's an invitation, and it comes with huge expectations, because now they realize, or they think they know, what it is all about, and all of a sudden the expectations is even higher. So now the declaration on one hand side to create regional hubs, and I'm super happy to say that I have pleasure to lead one of the key regional hub, global hub that is in Poland, needs to create its skill sets, needs to create the platform and product approach, but at the same time we need to equip regions, individual factories, markets with something they simply don't know how to do. So we live in this, in the little bit of transition time. I don't know how long it's going to take us. I'm far to say it's easy, right? It's my 6 months in the company. I can tell you it is not easy at all. If Marina would be sit here, she could be probably more eloquent. I see this, it's my job, so she looks at me to do it, but it's not going to be easy, because individual markets and the factories, they're a bit scared. They don't know how to do it. They've never done it. Typically, as Wojtek mentioned, the orders were always coming from the top. And now we are changing the equation a bit. So all of a sudden, they need to be partners. They need to anticipate the changes. They need to read. They need to, on top of reading the consumers and on top of reading the markets dynamics, so the trade dynamics, they need to think about the complicated supply chain, which is global. They need to think about industry trends when it comes to technology. They need to challenge themselves on what can be produced by technology in order to help their not only trade aspect, but also consumer aspect with the new categories. This is a hell of a challenge. So the strategy is clear. It's very inspirational. The little thing now is to deliver that, yeah?
I'm not sure you responded my my question.
I knew it.
To the degree I had expected, but okay, let's move to the next one. So you touch upon the topic of culture, yeah, and we always talk, and this is also what we'll continue in the panel, that okay, we can build a fantastic suite of different tools, create the ecosystem of partners, bring all the technologies, and all of a sudden we might get stuck because people won't know how to use it, and maybe that will be quite difficult how to translate it into what your customers expect. Yeah. So what's the approach? Because I'm sure that at this stage, I think it's over a year, right? That Marina was working on it. What is the stage of this cultural change, and what's the interaction? Because CIDO and the CHRO at your company.
You touch on a very important thing. To be honest, I was a bit shocked when first time I spoke to Marina, and we were talking about technology, challenges, regional versus local, different roles that I need to play in the supply chain and capabilities in the supply chain to comply with regulations and create the skill sets. She kind of gave this pause. She looked at me and she said, you know, with everything we discussed, there is one thing that is by far the most important and the most difficult thing. And this is to change the ways we work in the company. This is the way people think, people take decisions or do not take decisions, how they use the data, how they go after, and how open they are to change their work, their thinking, which is back in 80s and 90s. And it seems a simple statement. But behind this simple statement, there is a tremendous work that needs to be done, because it doesn't matter whether I'm successful in creating the central location and central hub. It even doesn't matter if the individual factories or markets will step up to the challenge and create the new skill sets. I'm mentioning create new skill sets. This is not about knowledge. This is not about experience. This is skill sets. And this is quite a different notion, right? And we are not there yet. So then after kind of repeating this statement in my mind several times, I realized what she really means. That it's easy to say, extremely difficult to be done. One interesting topic. Last week I was in a symposium with one of our strategic suppliers, partners, and there was a notion of thinking about the world in an agile way, of transforming the decision-making process, different approach to projects, etc., etc. And somebody asked a very good question. This question was like, all right, I think right now at the boards of the companies, everybody really realizes the need of technological revolution, digital transformation. Everybody gets it, or at least they say they get it. And now the question is, okay, now you have all the bunch of people, very highly regarded and top-level leaders, who say, we got it. We know what you mean. Just do it. Well, and then the question to the partner was like, how do you pass this kind of shallow idea of understanding? Because they know how to use Teams, do they really understand what it means to collaborate in a digital way? Of course, the answer is no. Because they understand what it means to reach out to the consumers and basically create the CSR and advertise all of a sudden new kind of products. Do they really know what it means for the data usage, right? Of course they don't. So how to overpass that shallow understanding and knowledge? Yes, we are agile. 60% of our projects are done in an agile way. Well, I can tell you, it's not true. The fact that you call something agile doesn't mean that it is agile. And I did lots of tests, and I tell you, I can only repeat, it's not true. So there is tremendous work in front of us, and the push comes from the top. Wow, that was a big P. The push comes from the top. On the other hand, the different levels of understanding that translate to the ways of working, that's our biggest challenge.
So maybe trying to recap, because I think that we will have at least a lot of topics that we will expand in our panel, but just trying to recap if I understood properly. So first of all, elevation, the combining the classical traditional CIO role with the focus on digitization, which is not only internal but also focus on the end state product, what the company aspires to be in the future, plus empowerment as a board member to take the decisions and actually impact board colleagues who are also running the market, running the business. So that's the first. The second one, the way you want to implement it is through the regional centers who will be partnering with the markets. They're trying to adapt the global strategies and the suites that you guys are creating with your partners to what they truly need. And of course, probably we will not cover that now, but maybe if you can tell me, because we know the story of PMI, right? Very, very bold statement of becoming, the technology company in the future. What's, in a really 20 seconds, what's your aspiration? Where do you believe British American Tobacco would be in the next 10 years? What company you aspire to be?
First of all, we want to create a better future. That's the inspiration, that's the aspiration, all the smoke-free future as an industry. So we definitely want to walk the talk. The new categories, the less harmful categories are, and the transition is by far the most important, super seriously taken strategy that we really walk the talk. Secondly, on the technology side, just a little statistics. I think these were not my days, but 5 years ago, when we did a very detailed assessment of Gartner, it was clear that the company uses between 12 to 13% of the available data. I know it's not great statistics, but it's truthful statistics. 12 to 13. It's not 20 to 30, it's 12 to 13. Today, it's 50%. And yes, the progress is great, but think about that probably this 50% is the lowest hanging fruit. So ambition would be to be at least at 80% and use it in the meaningful way. Another thing is how we introduce the new products and take advantage of technology. And I'm going to use the quote because I don't want to burn it, right? What we say, what Marina says is small scale at speed, which means start at the market. You take Japan. Japan is over 50% of the new categories. Like traditional cigarettes are kind of passé, right? Over 50% is new categories. By the way, Poland is super aggressive on that. So this is moving forward super fast. How do you do small steps, make it 60, 70% right, not even 80% right, 60, 70% right, and then move and deploy, right? And this is where the regional and local teams are critically important. So, and the data use is key. Not to mention the skill set built. I could continue and continue and continue on what needs to be true and what are the ideas, what are the targets, what are the objectives, but you get the point.
Okay, thank you, Janusz. That was a good introduction to our panel that we start shortly. So I personally, I'm not a smoker, just to be clear. And
Me neither.
And I would really like to see that the future is that we use digitization to digitize smoke and create a better world. I don't know if there is a way to make a profit on it, but probably will not answer that today. So thank you, Janusz.
Thank you very much.
Resilience, maturity, talents, growth, innovation. But change made us stronger. This all made us sustainable. ABSL Summit. Beyond tomorrow. Building a sustainable future.